We in IPOB, we will no longer have regard for anybody who comes up to speak nice words, to say beautiful things, only to turn around and begin to speak like a traitor. We will not condone nor tolerate such people, and it won't happen anymore. I will not mention anybody's name again here, or praise anybody again, because once I do, the zoo will go and meet you and give you money. You start talking like an idiot. It will not happen here anymore. Never, ever, ever. People will no longer make money with the name of IPOB. They say, oh, he's close to Nnamdi Kanu. Let's embarrass him. Let's give him money. So he will say something against Nnamdi Kanu and people will move away from him. That is rubbish. I don't beg people to come with me. I speak the truth. If you love the truth, you will come. If you're a child of darkness, a child of Lucifer, you will not come because you don't like the truth. And next time you're traveling along the untarred road in your village, you will fall into a nearby stream and you will drown. And by the time you know it, very little fish in the stream will come and pluck your eyes out. You don't know that's what. Do you know about the car that fell into the river for the past 1 week that has been there with passengers on board? Because people don't reason very well. That is why they die like wild animals that they are. Ordained and forever ignorant are those who cannot distinguish between two people. You are an ignorant person, ordained with natural stupidity. So you're telling me if I go back to my house, I cannot differentiate between my two sons. Is that what you're telling me? I can no longer tell Nemeka from Nnamdi. Is that what you're telling me? I no longer can tell between my two children who is who. I asked you, go back to the picture of Aisha Buhari 2 Sundays ago. The man that escorted Aisha to the launch of the next level of APC. Does that man look like Buhari to you? Huh? I don't know. But, don't Yoruba journalists, don't they have eyes? I mean, Yoruba journalists, don't they have eyes? Can't you tell if the man that escorted Aisha out answer a simple question? Is that man Buhari or not? And then your stupidity will begin to unravel before you. Nobody can be old one day and the next day they are young. We knew what Buhari looked like. And we now know what Jubril looks like. These days they take pictures from 10 miles away. Because they know IPOB is watching. Take pictures and publish. And then we analyze that for you. We have presented before the world numerous and irrefutable evidence about who Jubril is and how they cannot be Buhari. It should be clear to the rest of humanity that even I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. Atiku Abubakar knows that Jubril is not Buhari. Everybody knows. Saraki, everybody knows. The Sultan knows. Abba Kyari that recruited, he knows. Nobody can come out to challenge what is unchallengeable. But because a Fulani man needs to be in power always, that is why they allow this charade and this nonsense to continue. There is nobody. When I say it now, they say, oh, he's full of this, his Biafra thing. You know, that's what they say about me. But I want you to play Dora Akonyele's third force, I would say. It was Dora Akonyele that made Jonathan's presidency possible. One Igbo woman, brave Igbo woman, made it possible. There is no Yoruba person who can stand up to say today to speak the truth that Jubril is not Buhari. But this woman did it and paid with her life. That is how we are. We don't give a damn. We damn the consequences when speaking the truth. Please, are you ready? Please go ahead and play Dora Akunyili. The next verse you hear is that of Dora.
There are people around the president that are not telling us the truth. And it has happened for over 90 days. And most Nigerians are worried. There is confusion, there is anxiety, there is tension in the system. We should not shy away from that. That is the truth. The tension got so heightened that at a point, the National Assembly and the Governors Forum saved us from even getting into deeper crisis by making the president acting president. Then suddenly, these people arranged without informing the acting president and brought in the president in the dead of the night, and that caused even more tension in the system. And thereafter went on to do a few things that get people totally disorganized and wondering what's going on. Now I believe that things are normalizing, but a few things still need to happen. We are praying that our president either comes out to talk to us to completely douse the tension, or if he's not in a position to do so, because it's not a crime for anybody to be sick, for people around him to come out and tell us his true state of health, or at least allow the acting president to see him and talk with him. You see, these things are very important because the acting president would now be able to talk to us as ministers and tell us what he discussed with him. Because if we don't get the truth, we will continue to dwell on rumors, and these rumors are creating more problems for us because the stories that are coming up are really very discomforting, and I wouldn't want to repeat some of them. And why are they coming up? Because we don't have information. I am Minister of Information of Nigeria, but I don't have information. So when people say certain things, I'm not even able to say, no, this is not correct. How can I say this is not correct when I don't know the truth? Well, it's not just a slight on the acting president, it's also a slap on the faces of almost 150 million Nigerians. In fact, what they say to all of us is, all of you go to hell. And it is very sad. But be that as it may, I think we should try and get over that. What is important is that our president is back. We should pray for his recovery. We should also pray for the acting president to effectively manage the ship of the nation. And on the other hand, to pray that God gives us the solution to the impending political crisis in the country, because there is political crisis. We shouldn't pretend.
Yes, it's very, very clear, isn't it? What Professor Olankunyi was saying. She's dead now. The same scenario that played out before the ascension of Jonathan is playing out today again. People are lying and burying their heads in the sand like the proverbial ostrich, not willing, neither are they able to confront the truth. Had it not been for this very brave lady, what is playing out now would have played out then. I played this very clip that people may know the level of sacrifice required when you are pursuing the truth. Dora Akunyili then said, these people, who are those people she was referring to? The same political cabal of the Fulani Caliphate. They're the ones now managing Jubril because they want Fulani people to remain in power. But we know it's not going to be possible. We know it's not possible. Mark my words. It is not possible. Come out and tell us the true state of the health of the dead Yaradua. She said, did anybody say such a thing during this time around of Buhari before he died? Nobody told you anything. Nobody knows what that man or knew what he died from. You are the ones paying for his medical bills, but you are not allowed to know what is happening to him or what happened to him. At least Jonathan was the acting president. Osibajo was made the acting coordinator. That tells you all you need to know about Nigeria. What am I saying? What I'm saying is the absence of a Biafra. Now, can you see why Buhari made sure that it's only Fulani men that he's surrounded with, his kitchen cabinet? Those in the know are all Fulani. And there is no way they are going to relinquish or give up power. Never. And why are we not contesting it? Because we lack the courage to. Because those that should be telling us the truth, they lack the courage to tell us the truth. Those of you that come out to say that Jubril is Buhari, that Buhari is not dead, you are going to cover your faces in shame very soon. I assure you. You know, for us, timing is everything. When I do things, I time it precisely. The timing will shock each and every one of you. If you cannot see that Jubril cannot address you, Jubril cannot take off his hat, nor take a picture in a suit, which you should have done considering that they're going into an election period. Jubril doesn't speak the Fulani local dialect Fufude. This same Jubril can never address you. He can never go on a walkabout. He can never attend a rally. They are hiding his left ear from you. But you insist. Some of you, out of ignorance and madness, as you speak, have decided to stick with the fact that Jubril is not Buhari. So they can keep stealing oil and gas money, which is why they are in power in the first place. It is very, very necessary to notify every Nigerian that bothers to know that the only thing that can save you is a revolution. You must join IPOB in this very revolution to usher in a new order for yourselves. For us, we are Biafrans, we are going. But we want to allow you to take advantage of this very time in our history to also set yourselves free. The fraudulent concealment of this evil enterprise perpetrated by Fulani men. This Fulani caliphate in Nigeria cannot last very long. You have to make a decision tonight, either to be part of this very revolution or to remove yourself and keep campaigning for politicians and for people to go and vote. You must make up your mind. Voting is incompatible with the revolutionary mindset that have now possessed us. What we want is a revolution, not restructuring, not change for the sake of it, but a total and comprehensive revolution that will upturn the old corrupt order and usher in a new one. Under the grace of the Most High Elohim. Under the grace of the Most High Elohim. All of those who are accomplices to this very fraud, those that knew, those that know about Jubril but have decided to keep quiet, you will not go scot-free. We have information at the disposal of our intelligence, the M-Branch Intelligence Network. Everybody who is a politician in the zoo, a high-level politician, they are all aware of the contract that Jubril entered into to masquerade himself as Buhari. What Jubril has brought is definite chaos. Under this Jubril, Fulani headsmen went about rampaging, killing, raping, and maiming people. This thing from Sudan under him. That is why they're shielding him. But he will go to jail. Don't say I didn't warn you. He is going to prison. And he must be tried. The restoration of our dignity as a people must come via a revolution, nothing else. Nothing else, not through voting. You can vote from now till the kingdom come. Nothing will change. Only if you're part of the criminal gang seeking to loot people and continue to impoverish those with nobody to speak for them. This very regime of fascism and impunity must come to an end. This spate of lying and deception and all that devilish antecedents of this APC regime must be brought to an end. Or else we're in trouble. Everybody will be in trouble, I assure you. If they can come with such determination and the front to slaughter and maim people all over the place, imagine what will happen if you allow them to use the pretext of an electioneering period, campaign and voting to extend the stay of Jubril in office. They will slaughter all of you. That I assure you. Yemi Osibanjo is incapable of speaking the truth. And he is a pastor. So we also told that Femi Adesina is also a pastor. They are pastors and they lie with so much ease that seriously I am concerned. Seriously, we are concerned. I should be. Everybody holding our people from Nne, we must set them free, or else they invite a greater calamity. They are inviting something that will consume all of them. We know what happened between Boko Haram and the Zoo army. Something greater will happen if they don't leave us alone and set our people free. They label us as terrorists. They know that we have no arms. We have absolutely nothing. They cook up unsubstantiated and unpardonable lies against us just to justify their illegal imprisonment and the incarceration of IPOB family members. Those who are arrested are held incommunicado for years and months without any trial. Any day we go crazy and decide to challenge them, we don't want the world to hold us responsible. The zoo must be held responsible. It is on record that Buhari, the dead Buhari now Jubril and the Shibajo government, has not secured not a single conviction against anybody involved in the killing of innocent people, including army officers that shot and killed over 1,000 Shia protesters in Zaria. None has been brought to book. The constitution is not being maintained. Nobody follows it. Because if they did, by now all those arrested at Nnewi would have been released. But there are some Igbo people that call themselves leaders who are behind this very evil to round up people and lock them up, having not committed any crime. They went to Akwa Ibom to initiate havoc and chaos. They went to Iwacha to arrest people who are training for a neighborhood watch. They want to take over Akwa Ibom, Cross River and River State by all means necessary. And all of you are sitting down, folding your arms and not challenging this very evil going on now in our land. They arrest our people and they parade them. These are businessmen, these are shop owners at Nnewi. If you're close to these people, ask them to release these innocent traders. They're not part of IPOB. But everybody who is from Biafra land is an indigenous person of Biafra. And we must evidently watch out for them and make sure that we protect their interests. They arrested 34 persons, paraded them, which is against the law. To parade people is against the law, but the police keeps doing this because nobody holds them to account. There is something called innocent before proven guilty. But in the zoo, they find you guilty before you can prove your innocence, which is Sharia law. But some of you don't know that you are actually practicing Sharia law. Very, very sad indeed. We have all the names of the people they've arrested, and we are asking them to release all of them. We are asking them to set them free and focus all their policing efforts against Boko Haram and Fulani headsmen, and leave our people alone. Many people have written about this. Inter-society have written about this, and others are also commenting about this. They must focus their energies there. Let them go and fight the terrorists in the north and leave us alone. Some of you don't know the involvement of Buhari and his regime in the recruitment, in the financing, and in the empowering of Boko Haram. Or should I say, empowerment of Boko Haram. Some of you are aware that some South Africans, some mercenaries said they wanted to fight Boko Haram. Do you know who stopped them? Buhari asked them not to fight Boko Haram when he was alive. Do you know that? I'm sure now you know. Will anybody ask questions? No, I am not sure they are going to ask any questions at all. When Boko Haram are killing people in the north, no northern politician talks about war. But anytime Nyamodo goes out to speak, he will tell you, oh, we want Biafra as well, but not through war. And you ask him, but who is fighting a war? Is our agitation in any way warlike? He will tell you yes. Then if our agitation is war, what do you think that Fulani headsmen are doing? What do you think that Boko Haram are doing? And all the rest of them. He cannot answer because he wants to be a minister in Atiku's government. It is only war that is talking about war. That is his justification for Operation Python dance. His only narrative is war. Anywhere he goes to do it is war. You know, that's why I said that I'm a man of peace, but when I speak, they are for war. He is the only person talking about war all the time. Others are talking about referendum. Some genuinely enlightened people from outside are talking about a return to the autonomy that was embedded in the 1963 Constitution. Anywhere he goes to, it is about war. War and war. Who he's fighting with, I have no idea. Every day, steadily, he is yapping about war. Anywhere he goes to, he talks about war because he's an apologist for the Fulani genocides. He is a lapdog for the Fulani Caliphate. He promised his Fulani masters that he keep on shouting war and war and war until they begin to believe his lies. All his co-conspirators, those of them with a hand in instigating Operation Python dance, will pay very dearly for it at the right time. And we are not going to vote for anybody. There will be no voting in our land. We have roadblocks in the north. They don't have any roadblocks. Wodo promised to get rid of all the roadblocks. And all your governors are not saying anything about it. They extort money from us. When we refuse to give them money, they kill us. And nothing is done about it. And that empowers them, and they keep doing it all the time. They deploy soldiers to our street. Every time a Fulani man must be in charge of everything. Be it police, be it Air Force, everything is only Fulani people. People we are arrested around Okigwe. Everywhere you go in Biafra is arrest. Because we have no guns. Are they arresting Boko Haram? The answer is no. Instead, they are giving them army uniform and integrating them into the army. They have arrested our people again around Lopanta and charged them. People who were going for something totally unrelated to IPOB activities, we are arrested and published in the newspapers. That is what we are facing every blessed day. But we must continue. We must continue to march forward. It has been proven beyond every conceivable doubt that those who are the cowards are those of them in the zoo army. Because when Boko Haram came calling, they all ran away. We have some announcements to make this very evening, and we must make it because freedom fighting is not a child's play. If you know you cannot handle it, then please do not be a part of this very family. There is no emergence of a new nation without the backing of the Security Council or a very powerful state. The reason why we lost the war between 67 and 70 was because we had no serious backers. That is a fact. If you don't know your history, please go and check it over and over again. We need friends, we need allies, we need supporters all over the world, and we are making sure that we get that before we march. And I must also repeat that we will boycott elections unless they're prepared to give us a date for a referendum. My type of freedom fighting comes without compromise. None whatsoever. I will sacrifice everything sacrificable, as I'm sacrificing right now, to make sure that Biafra comes. It doesn't matter what people say or do, because I know for definite that Biafra is going to come. I am not your typical black African man. I am not. I don't reason like them, and I can never reason like them. That is why IPOB is different, because we reason differently. There is no developed black African country without help. I said there is none. No black country is developed. Even South Africa is going backwards. Go and check it and you will see. And I am determined by the grace of the Almighty that Biafra must set and be an example for others to copy and to follow. It doesn't matter what people say or what they do, Biafra is going to come. Nobody is under any force or compulsion to be part of this glorious IPOB family. For you to be IPOB means you're privileged. It means you can reason like a human being. You're not an animal dwelling in the zoo called Nigeria. People come and people will go, but IPOB shall remain. We are not going anywhere. We don't dine with traitors or deal makers. If you're a deal maker, go and be making your deals. We want our freedom, and that's what we're going to get. It's either we get it or we all perish in the process. We will not give an inch or a quarter. Not everybody will understand the spiritual dimension of this very struggle. It is highly spiritual, what we are doing. If you don't understand it, just keep your mouth shut. Watch and see what is going to happen. Without Chukwu Okike Abiama, there will be no Biafra. I can assure you of that. That was why we lost the war in 1970. Because Chukwu Okike Abiama was not at the center of what we are doing. And this is a mistake I am not prepared to repeat. Be rest assured. This evening, mobilization units will be created in every state. I said in every state. We have saturated the towns. We must go into the rural areas and the villages. Every state coordinator must provide support and assistance to Abel and his team to make sure that we permeate every strata of our society. That IPOB is everywhere. Not when you come to towns and you see an existing zone, you cut it into two and tell me you're inaugurating a new unit. That doesn't make any sense to me. Go into the villages. Go into our hometowns and establish IPOB family meetings. I want Cross River, Bayelsa and Delta states, those closer to the coast, to become saturated with IPOB family units everywhere. That is how we are going to paralyze and shock the zoo come next year, February 19th. We must have new families everywhere. Nobody should open any unit without handing it over to the state coordinator. Nobody should. If you are going to open a new unit, you must hand it over to the state coordinator and make sure it is well accounted for. Everybody, every unit in every state must be accounted for. I repeat, must be accounted for. From this very night, BSS no longer exists the way we know it. I have assumed the overall command of BSS, and anybody referring to himself or herself as BSS from tonight will be in very serious trouble. Because BSS are not meant to be seen. We hear about them, we don't see them. So there is nothing like BSS for anybody to parade himself or herself as BSS. That means they are not part of this very glorious family. Because things are happening, we are restructuring our intelligence gathering to make it far more relevant for this phase of this very battle that we're going into. People will hear about BSS, but they will not see them anymore. So anybody writing, parading, or talking about himself or herself as BSS is doing so on their own and no longer part of this very family. A new commander will head the BSS, and that will be announced very soon, and that is the only public information you have about BSS from now onwards. BSS, as I said earlier, is under my direct command, and no human being is allowed to assume any position within that very organization, within our struggle, without my say-so. No meeting or meetings of BSS will be convened from now onwards until I announce who the overall head will be. Every BSS officer and personnel should join the nearest IPOB Central Security Command, because nomination to the new BSS will come from officers and heads of the various security units. No person or persons, I repeat, must parade themselves as leaders of BSS until I announce such a person on air. This evening also I'm announcing that Igbo Frontiers is completely dissolved. There is nothing called Frontiers again in Igbo from tonight. It doesn't exist. Biafra Land Coordinator Ikechukwu will work on assimilating them into the new structure in Igbo. IPOB Enforcement Unit must ensure that that name no longer exists. Frontiers, it doesn't exist from tonight. David Njoko is the one and only coordinator I recognize and I know in Igbo. Every group, unit, or family meeting must be under his leadership. There will be no nicknames at all. Whatever Ikechukwu says is what goes. You must understand that. Nothing like Frontiers from tonight. And that brings us to the end of our broadcast this very evening. By the grace of Elohim, we shall be here next week, Saturday, to continue the propagation of this very gospel. If anybody is telling you to do anything else other than what you are told on this very platform, you must not only ignore them, but also avoid them. Our mission is to crumble the zoo, and that must happen, because Biafra must come. We have no other choice. We have no other hope. The only thing that matters to us is freedom, and that freedom is what we are pursuing, and that is what we are going to get. And Chukwu Kabiam will guide, sustain, bless, and keep each and every one of you as we work tirelessly hard towards the restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon this face of this very earth. And that Biafra must come, and we shall all inherit it, not just for this generation, but for posterity to come. That the name of the Most High Elohim may be blessed, adored, and praised, now and forevermore. He said.